So what happened to you on American Idol?
Oh man, this is amazing. Yeah. You know, I've always been of the opinion that it's the responsibility of the artist to be the sort of idealized definition of the intellectual.
My feeling is that that should be everybody's aspiration, and some people have better opportunities than others. If you have artistic talent, and I don't happen to have so many, then you have opportunities that I don't have.
But artistic talent seems to be something that is not necessarily easily defined.
It's not easily defined, but it's the kind of thing you can tell when you see it.
Okay. Well, I'll go with that.
Then you go back to the Bible. There were people who we would call intellectuals, a term that's used as prophets. Misleading translation of some obscure term. But if you think of what they did, it's what we call, what we describe as intellectual work. They were critical of the deeds, of the actions of the power system, of the kings, of the priests, and so on. They did geopolitical analysis. They argued that the actions of the kings were going to bring destruction to the people of Israel. They called for mercy and justice for widows and orphans and people needed. That's intellectuals. They were not nicely treated. They were imprisoned, mocked, driven into the desert. One of them was crucified. Christian prophet. There were people who were called, who were well treated, and they're the ones who long afterwards are called false prophets. But they're the flatterers of the court, and they're the ones who did fine. And it goes that way right up to the present.
Something which I have been looking into is reality television, which is a very popular form of entertainment.
The number of hours TV watching is astonishing.
It's pretty astonishing, it's true. And I don't know how much longer it's going to last for with regard to the internet.
The internet have any effect on that?
Well, I think that people spend more time on the internet now, yeah. I think that, and they also watch TV on the internet.
So is that something you can do and cut the ads?
Well, yeah, the problem with TV on the internet is that it goes back to this problem with reality TV, which is that people see the internet as this thing that gives you ontological truth. It gives you truth about absolute everything. It gives you truth about your body. It gives you truth about everything. And then if they're looking at the TV,
I see a different aspect of it. It's a truth. It's an incredible cult generator. Somebody put something up, and some of the crazy things, somebody thinks, maybe you recently have an international cult.
Sure, absolutely.
And there is this. There have actually been some studies of which show that people believe what they see on the internet more than what they read in newspapers. I thought it was surprising.
There's this concept of indefinite authorship. Who is this person who put this thing on the internet? And if you think about everything else in our society that had this definite authorship, the Bible, Plato's Republic, all these things that people just take as real knowledge.
Interesting, at least in the world of more or less elite journalism, there had been a practice of anonymity. In consular supplement, New Yorker, and so on, they leave it up because people didn't like it. They want to know who's responsible for this. So over the years, almost all the journalists have turned to signed authorship. Not all, many economists have.
But the problem with signed authorship is that it doesn't allow for the individual to really identify with it as much as when no one knows who authored it.
I know that just myself, I don't like to read unidentified articles. You have no exactly. I If you know who the person is, you have some way of evaluating how reliable it is, or what background it's coming from, or what the biases are.
But sometimes you read something that has no definite author without even realizing it. Like you walk down the street and you see something graffiti to the wall. Do you feel that it came from an individual when you see graffiti?
I think that it came from a certain social and cultural class. Okay. My friends don't put up graffiti.
And if someone were to hand you a book that was, no one knows who wrote it, but it came from a certain cultural class, or it came from a certain tribe.
It would be interesting, but it wouldn't help with further reliability.
Well, I think reliability is just sort of out the window.
Well, that's why if it's a folk tale, it doesn't matter. But if it's
Right.
a work of history, it doesn't matter. There's nothing to work.
Definitely. But the internet works on that principle of folk tale.
It's kind of an interesting question to me, is why does it carry conviction?
But if it's a folk tale of your people, then you have the idea that you are a participant in it.
Because then you sort of share the background.
Right.
So
And you're also a participant in the internet.
it's weird. It's like when a friend gives you advice rather than somebody you've ever heard of.
Right. I think that there's this TV show, American Idol. Are you familiar with this at all?
And I know that it exists, but only because of commentary about it.
Well, it's the most popular
Yeah.
reality television show.
No, is that a reality television? Isn't that a show where people come standing?
Well, it's confusing, but it is reality television, yeah, definitely. It claims to be this king-making program, bringing people out of the masses and up into society. However, it is only once they have been given $1 million and entered into the ruling class that their original music or voice is promoted through the industry. They've got this tribunal of judges who are presented as the ultimate arbiters of what is good and what is bad. And their interests are in preserving a canon, and in that canon are members of the ruling class who are continuing to collect royalties off their music. Basically, my argument is that the falsehood needs to be exposed. For there is actually too much at stake, which is the enjoyment of music. Everyone's enjoyment of music is basically at stake, especially if there are these people who are the arbiters of what's good and bad. And those are the ones who you're supposed to be identifying with.
Are these judges independent from, say, recording companies?
Are they independent? Oh, no.
No.
Of course not.
They're like agents of the recording companies.
Basically.
How do you distinguish it from pure